Today is the 11th of February. Um, uh-huh. I haven't made any notes. I wanted to make this video of my dad, Brian MacDonald Gawley, born in 1909, and his father, I believe they lived in a small village called Rotherwick, which is in Hampshire. A very pretty place. Let's just focus on my dad and not on his parents or his relatives, but just my dad, Brian MacDonald Gawley, born 1909. His father died when my dad was only 14, and his mother decided that it would be. Dad was at the grammar school. He attended the grammar school in Odium, Odiam, Odium Grammar School. And his mother, I'm not quite sure how it happened, but Dad went into the Navy at the age of 14, which would be, let me see, 1909, 1929, no, sorry, born 1909, plus 14, 19. So he would have gone into the Navy in 1923. And I think he went to Portsmouth Naval College. I've got all his papers from the college, and I think he had there some years of education. He was always very good at mathematics, and he became a radio engineer. And from my memory, I've always known that Dad was in the Navy for 15 years. Of those 15 years, he served 7 years in submarines. And one member of my family has researched his naval history in the submarine museum, I believe, which is in Gosport, and they think they are of the opinion that he came out of the Navy in 1934, which I don't think can be correct, because I know that when my dad met my mother in Portsmouth, she was quite a young girl, 17 or 18, and they got married, and he served 4 years in Malta. And I know this to be true because my sister Pamela was born in Malta. So he served four years in Malta. I have seen pictures of him. I think he played tennis. He was there for 4 years, and he came out of the Navy in 1938. and not long after he was discharged, war was declared with Germany, and my dad said to my mum, because my dad was a reservist, and he said to my mother, I must rejoin the Navy. But when he applied, this is then 1939 or 38, 39, the War Department said to my dad that we would prefer you because of your expertise in maths and your engineering background. He was also very, very fast with Morse. I even remember as a boy in the 1940s that he could listen to the radio and hear the Morse. He taught me the SOS, did. But he would sometimes, just for out of interest, he would go through the channels, revolving the dial to get different stations all around the world, and he would hear Morse, and he could actually, literally, as the Morse came in, translate it straight into English, which was fascinating. So anyway, to come back to the point, the War Department said that he should work for the War Department for the duration of the war. Now, all those who worked at Bletchley, which was where they decoded the German messages, and they captured, I believe, an Enigma machine, which was a machine which the Germans used to encrypt their messages. I believe they captured one of those from a submarine. And anyway, there was a big team that worked in Bletchley. They all signed the Official Secrets Act. So even to this day, I do not know if my dad worked for that team. But I suspect, because of his skills, that he probably was a member of that team. But I don't know now, and I don't know how I can actually find out. But anyway, that is what I know about Dad. And then after the war, Dad worked for the BBC as a production engineer. He had always been interested in poetry and writing. He often got a lot of short stories published by the Evening News, the London Evening News, and so about 1951, he got a job with Marconi's in St. Albans. I can't quite remember what his job was there, but then he was let down rather by them, because they promised him a house after he'd been there 6 months or so, and they didn't keep their promise, so he eventually left. We left St. Albans in 1953, I believe, and moved to London. Dad, I believe, he started a business. No, he worked, I know, for a monthly magazine called Techniview and Production Efficiency, and he also started his own business called Industrial Editorial Services, which meant writing technical articles for all new developments of technology. And then his last few years before he died in 1965 as a result of a car crash in Witham in Essex, and on the bypass, on the Witham bypass. And so for the few years before 1965, he had been the advertisement manager of a monthly magazine called Baker's Review. And that is about it, about my dad's history. And thank you, and bye for now.